All right, ready?
Yep.
All right, let's just get into it. Welcome, everybody, to the Burl Brew for a big-time basketball game coming up this evening between – oh, that was happening some last time. Not a big deal. Hello.
Go.
Hello.
Keep
Are
going.
you good?
Yep,
Are you
I'm good.
Perfect. Big time game coming in this evening as Kentucky has gone to the Big Apple to take on the Michigan State Spartans. Looking for a bounce back win after what happened the other day. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks everybody for being here at early game, wet night. Thanks for coming out. We are the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm Andrew Stefaniak. That's Carson Nash. Thanks for being here. Carson, we're in New York. Another marquee matchup, another ranked game. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Last week was a letdown. It felt like Kentucky kind of got punched in the face. So I'm excited to see how they bounce back from some adversity tonight. And, playing in Madison Square Garden, all the chips are on the table. We're putting it all on the line.
Michigan State obviously already has their marquee win of the season as they took down John Calipari, familiar face, and the Arkansas Razorbacks in East Lansing a few days ago. A game, and this is going to be the key topic tonight for us, a game where Michigan State only made one 3-point shot. If you would have looked at the stat sheet of this ball game, you would have said to yourself, how did Michigan State win that game? But the takeaway from watching Michigan State play, watch that whole game this morning, and they are incredible around the rim. Every player on that floor can pass. Every player on that floor can score around the rim. So stopping Michigan State from getting to the rim, defense inside of the paint is the number one key to victory for Kentucky in this basketball game.
Yeah, I agree. And that also ties along with rebounding. I think rebounding is going to be key because you don't want to give up too many second chance points. We know Michigan State's not a great 3-point shooting team, but you know how Kentucky is against teams. They love to get hot against us. So limiting the second chances and playing good defense and stopping them in transition. Izzo likes to get out in transition and run, and the bigs run the court very, very hard. So stopping them in transition and making them play some half-court basketball is going to be key.
In that Arkansas game, when Arkansas was able to set their defense, they were pretty successful at slowing Michigan State and creating turnovers. When Michigan State was able to get a quick bucket in transition is when they hurt the Razorbacks the most. So that defense in the first 10 seconds of the possession before they get their stuff set is going to be huge for us. We have to find a way to defend at a high level early in the possession. And like you just said, Carson, we got to rebound the basketball. When they have so many guys as close to the rim as they're going to have tonight, if you're giving up second chance opportunities all night long, it's going to be high volume looks on those second chance opportunities. So we're going to have to see Kentucky clean up the glass around the rim.
100%. And, going on the lines of that, I want to switch this topic, and I want to change to something. I want to see Otega-Oweh get out of his slump today. I think his turf toe has been nagging him, and I want to see him back to full force tonight with that athleticism that we know, that burst, and that physicality, taking the ball to the rim. Let's stop settling for jump shots, and let's go at these guys tonight.
And Carson and I sat here before the Louisville game and said the same thing. We need Otega-Oweh to play well. And what did he do? Played, would you say, the worst game of his Kentucky career?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be up there.
Definitely wasn't pretty. That is safe to say. And at the end of the day, you need your stars to show up. What happened against Louisville? Their star players showed up and ours didn't. That's a big reason why they won the basketball game. We have a star player in Otega-Oweh that we paid a lot of NIL money, and he has not looked like the guy that we saw last season. He has got to show up and play his game. And Carson and I have talked about it on the pod throughout the last couple of days and weeks. Ortega went through the NBA draft combine and all that stuff, or went through the process of the NBA draft and didn't stay in the draft, came back to Kentucky. And a lot of the feedback he got was about his jump shot, which we could have all told you that. We'd all told you that shooting was what he needed to work on to get better for the rest of his career and his pro career. And I'm a little worried that he's gotten too far away from being who Otega Oweh is and started to worry too much about shooting the basketball. If he's open, I'm fine with him shooting it, but I also don't hate the thought of a pump fake and taking it to the rim, because that is what Otega Oweh made a living doing last year and why he was an all-SEC second-team player, and that's why he was the SEC preseason player of the year this year.
100%. And, another guy who I didn't think had the best game on actually Friday, not last week, but Friday, was Brandon Garrison. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I think it's time to start Malachi Moreno. I think he brings too much to the table. I think you let the freshman go out there, learn from his mistakes, and get better. I think he should start tonight.
For the first few games of the season, I think we kept saying to ourselves, Malachi's playing really good basketball, but Brandon Garrison isn't playing poorly. And I think we all agreed on that. And the upside of Malachi Moreno had everybody excited. But at the end of the day, against Louisville, Brandon Garrison was really bad. I mean, that's the reality. He did not have a good showing. And was Malachi perfect in that ballgame? No, he wasn't. But he was still much better than Garrison, and he's a better rebounder. And in a game like this one tonight, with the elite bigs that Michigan State has, rebounding is going to be key. And frankly, I think Malachi Moreno is a much better rebounder than Brandon Garrison. And Carson, another player who I think is a better rebounder than Brandon Garrison?
Who?
Andrea Jelovich.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
100%. I know we were talking on the phone a little bit earlier today. I want to see more Jelovich. I mean, what did he play? 15 minutes, I think, last game, 11 points, 7 rebounds. He had more points and rebounds than Brandon Garrison, and Garrison had 20 minutes. So I would honestly love to play a smaller lineup and maybe throw Jelovich at the 5 and see how we can spread the court and flow with the offense.
I mean, I think it's time to accept that when Jaden Quaintance is back and healthy and on the floor, the guy at the 5 for this team is obviously going to be him, but the guy behind him, I think, is going to be Malachi Moreno. He's kind of separated himself from Garrison. So, yeah, I'd love to see more minutes tonight from the freshman from Kentucky. And, Jelovich is a guy that has continued to look better and better and better. And this is a game where I think he could thrive because we need our bigs to play well for different reasons. Against Louisville, we wanted our bigs to play well because Louisville didn't have the same level of big guys as we did. In this game, they've got elite big guys, and we need ours to match what they're doing, so hopefully our guards can win us this basketball game.
100%. And that goes along with wanting Malachi to start because I think the defensive end of the court tonight is key. Like I said, limiting transition, rebounding, and being where you're supposed to be. I thought last Tuesday, we were not where we were supposed to be most of the time, and I think that's going to be a key to tonight's game.
Obviously, Jalen Lowe is not going to be out on the floor tonight. We got an update live on the show earlier this week from our resident doctor, and we don't know when Lowe's going to be back on the floor. The update today from Mark Pope was not positive. Frankly, I'm kind of leaning toward the side of they're going to have him do the season-ending surgery. Nothing's been said yet, but I kind of think that is what's going to happen. And knowing that we're definitely not going to see Lowe tonight, probably not in the near future, Denzel Aberdeen is going to have to play well this evening. He was a real bright spot in the loss to Louisville. He made some big shots. He made some big plays. Kentucky is going to need the best out of the Florida transfer, Denzel Aberdeen, this evening.
And I think they're also going to need their best out of the Lexington native, Jasper Johnson. I love what he did last game against EIU, 7 assists, only 2 turnovers. I thought he's looked more and more comfortable running the point guard position each game. So I think continuing to let him run the show with the backups is going to be key.
I mean, another guy, Jasper did not have his best showing against the Louisville Cardinals, a guy that I thought was going to play well in that game. We talked about how he has a bit of an unspoken rivalry with Mikael Brown Jr., and we all thought that Jasper was going to come out firing, and he struggled in limited minutes in that ball game. if he's going to be a stud for us, he's going to have to start showing up in these big-time games, these marquee matchups when you're playing elite programs like Michigan State. So this is a game that if Jasper plays well, especially if he shoots the ball well, it would be a big plus for the Wildcats.
I thought something that was funny that happened on Friday night that kind of had to do with Jasper. It was late in the game. There was like 3 minutes left. We were already up 40 at this point, and Jasper's at the top of the key, and he hits a three. Great move, hits the three. But our team doesn't run back on defense. And you know how we talked about Izzo loves transition. You got to get back on defense. Guess what Pope did? As soon as the Kentucky Wildcats got to the defensive end of the court, there was a new 5 waiting on the sideline to take them out. So I think Pope has really prepared these guys tonight to get back in transition, and I'm really excited to see how we defend.
The guy up on the screen right over there, Jeremy Fears Jr., is going to be somebody that Kentucky's going to have to find a way to slow. I don't think that he's played the best he didn't play the Elite Eight version of basketball that we saw from him last season. He hasn't played that way so far this year. And Michigan State fans definitely want to see a big game out of Fears. And if you're Kentucky, he's the guy that you got to keep away from the rim. I thought Arkansas did a pretty good job of keeping him out of the lane and keeping him away from scoring down low. So that's a guy that you're going to want to maintain in this game. But the big name, and you just saw a video of him dunking right there on the screen, is Mr. Cohen Carr.
Yeah, Mr. Cohen Carr. Some may say he has aura because of his dunks. But, you know, for me, I looked and I scouted him. There's not much to his game other than jumping and dunking. I think we need to defend him well, push him to his right hand. He's not as good with his right hand, and cut off the baseline. The baseline is his favorite place to be. That's how they get easy inside points. You got to cut him from the baseline. Let him shoot. Let him shoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if he's willing to shoot, for sure, we would be very happy with Carr letting it fly. He is a freak athlete. Like you said, he's a guy that wants to punish the rim. But he's not a high-level skilled basketball player. He's just not. He is, to me, he's kind of a gimmicky player. He's here to dunk, and he's here to put up highlight tape. So, yeah, I mean, he's a guy that –
But he's one of those wings that kills in transition.
Exactly.
That's why we have to get back.
Exactly. And the other thing about him, too, is in a big game like this, if the Cats go down 4 points early and then there comes Carr and he puts a windmill dunk down to put the Spartans up momentum. 6 points, that's momentum. Dunks create momentum. So we don't want any early highlight level dunks from Mr. Carr this evening. Another guy that I want to talk about for the Wildcats in this ball game, Carson, is a guy that everybody here knows that we love, and that is Cam Williams. Cam Williams didn't do anything against the Louisville Cardinals until he finally got his shot. He didn't play a minute. They put him in to try and see if they could switch up the momentum. He comes in, nails a logo three, gets an awesome highlight put-back dunk, has some rebounds, does a lot well, made a few threes against Eastern Illinois. He's 3 for his last 5 from deep. We need him to heat up and start making those shots from deep. That's going to be a difference maker for the rest of the season for Kentucky and, of course, for this evening.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and for me, we've gone over this. I think it's all confidence with Cam Williams, and you finally start to see that build up with these past 2 games and get more minutes. So I'm really excited to see what he shows tonight because I think he can be an X factor for us.
And it'll be interesting to see the minutes that he's going to play. You know, I feel like in the early season, we still don't know what Mark Pope wants to do with this team. Against these elite opponents, the minutes are obviously going to change from your Valpos and your Eastern Illinois and your Nichols teams. So that's going to be something to monitor. How does Pope use this team? How does he use this roster? And another takeaway from watching Michigan State all day today, Carson, they're a well-coached basketball team. We all know that. Tom Izzo's an elite basketball coach. Frankly, I kind of like Tom Izzo. I don't like him tonight, but he's a good coach, and he seems like a good dude. And I'll tell you this, his teams do the little things right. Out-of-bounds plays, they killed Arkansas with the out-of-bounds plays, out-of-bounds underneath. They were great in those aspects of the game. They're a well-polished team. I think we're a more skilled basketball team. They're definitely a more clean basketball team. And speaking of playing clean, Carson, we cannot turn the ball over tonight.
Yeah, we've had a major turnover issue, and I think we need to get that fixed ASAP. You had 10 front court turnovers last game, which is ridiculous. That all comes down to hand-eye coordination and making a good extra pass. So I look to see that number go down, but that all depends on how we pass out of the paint.
Oh, for sure. I mean, our bigs got to take care of the ball. In the Mark Pope offense, we see a lot of the bigs handle the ball at the top of the key and passing it, and they got to be smart when doing that. I mean, it's not effective if you're not making the smart play. So I really am begging to see Brandon Garrison and Malachi Moreno continue to do the right thing with the basketball in their hands, because we talked about it. Transition is where Michigan State is going to kill us. And how do they get in transition? Missed shots and turnovers. Yes. So I want to see us take care of the ball. If we make shots, we can get back and get into our defense, and that's key.
Yeah, 100%. And, I wanted to bring somebody up who I think could have a very impactful game, and he had a fantastic game on Friday, and that's Mo Diabate. I think Mo Diabate going up against Jackson Kohler, I think that's going to be a big matchup to watch for. You don't want Kohler to get hot, and you want him to be more inefficient. So I think that's a key matchup right there.
And obviously, this is a bit of a homecoming for Diabate. He talked about never really having played back at home. So it'd be great if our resident New York player could have a big game for us this evening. He always had played well against Eastern Illinois. Another one of those guys who did, in fact, struggle against Louisville. I mean, he did not have a good showing. A lot of these guys, I promise you, losing to Louisville left a terrible taste in Mark Pope's mouth and in every one of these players' mouths. And they want to play well on the big stage tonight in Madison Square Garden. And I think Mo Diabate definitely wants to have a big game in front of, I'm sure, lots of friends and family this evening.
No doubt. We got punched in the face last week, and I think this team wants to right their wrongs. And, it was on prime time last week. This game, 6:30, the whole world's watching. I think we're going to right those wrongs. I'm really excited. Oh, Seth Greenberg there on my screen. Oh, there's the man of the hour, Mo Diabate. But I do think that we are going to be able to out-athlete them in a sense and be able to run up and down the court a little more fluid and better than them. We need to get into their bench because their depth is not nearly as good as ours. But you also can't let that depth for them beat you because that's what happened to Arkansas.
A guy that's been shooting the lights out so far for the Kentucky Wildcats has been Colin Chandler, a name that we still hadn't brought up yet. And I think that he has got to shoot the ball well tonight. Three-point shooting is always going to be important for a Mark Pope team. That's just a reality. If our team is not making shots, we're going to lose a lot of basketball games. So this is a game where I'd love to see Colin Chandler get hot from deep. He was hot against Louisville. He shot the ball well. He can be a spark plug for the team when he shoots the ball well. So you want to see that continue this evening.
100%. He didn't play his best game against Eastern Illinois, but in the big games, he seems to come through. So I expect that good shooting to continue, and he's going to have a big game. I'd love for him to out-dunk Cohen Carr tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we have a freak athlete too. Colin Chandler has put up a highlight-level dunk this year. He's put up multiple. He's a great athlete as well, just like Cohen Carr. So I'd really like to see him. I told you, Cohen Carr's the guy that can give you a spark with the big dunk. We can do that too with Colin Chandler. It'd be great if we got up a handful of points and he had a big slam somehow or another in transition or in the half-court offense, whatever it is. So this is a game, and we put it as the title yesterday, and it made some people upset. But, Carson, I think it's a little unfair to say it's a must-win game, but I think that Michigan State, when you look at Gonzaga and you look at North Carolina and you look at St. John's, of our marquee non-conference matchups, I think this is one of the easier ones. You got to win this basketball game, Carson.
100%. And, we are Kentucky, so every game's a must-win. But I think tonight really sets the tone because you got punched in the face against Louisville. 2 big games in a row. You can't have 2 letdowns. You need some momentum. You want to build on something going into the rest of the non-conference slate and building into that SEC season.
Exactly. I mean, these are the games that help build your resume for the NCAA tournament. You want to pull out wins in these games that are going to be great in the net rankings. They're going to boost your KenPom ranking. So the Cats just got to find a way to pull it out tonight. They have to find a way to win this ball game, and we're going to do our score predictions and MVP picks here in a minute. I do think the Cats are going to do that. But, Carson, the last conversation I want to have before we get into those score predictions is about what's the scoring going to look like in this game. Do you see this being a high-scoring matchup, a low-scoring matchup? In which way would that affect each team?
I think it's going to be a lower scoring matchup. I think both teams are going to play solid defense and probably slow it down more than anticipated. Plus, Madison Square Garden, big stage, maybe some nerves. I think it'll be a lower scoring game, but I don't necessarily think that favors them because I think we can play some good defense and win low scoring games this season.
Definitely. And we talked about the shooting, and I do want to say this. Obviously, Michigan State has not shot the ball well this season. These stats will blow your mind. Through 3 ball games, they've only had 4 players make a three-point basket. They're shooting 21.7% from deep as a team. But we still got to respect it. They've still got guys that can shoot the ball. Obviously, the number one key for our defense is to guard around the rim and don't let them have second chance opportunities. But that does not mean you can lag off of shooters and let them have wide open looks. You've got to make sure that they don't get hot from deep, because if they get hot from deep with their defense, it's going to be a hard one for the Cats to win.
100%. You got to play good defense, fight over screens against players that can knock them down. But I would also like to see Pope maybe go zone at some point tonight because we know they're not very good at shooting threes. So switching to a 2-3, 1-3-1, something like that, just to throw up the flow of the game might be impactful.
This is a big stage, like you said, Carson. I mean, Madison Square Garden is what a lot of these guys have dreamed of playing. And, you know, some of these transfers maybe haven't played on a stage like this. You can't let those nerves get the best of you. We talked about it. I mean, in the comments from Coach Pope after the game about the Taylor Swift thing and the pregame experience was weird. Obviously, Carson and I weren't a big fan of that, but you got to go out and you got to play well on a big stage. I mean, this is Kentucky basketball. We've seen stars made in this Champions Classic. I mean, we've seen incredible performances.
Yeah, Michigan State has nightmares about Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
So yes, this is the biggest stage in basketball. Madison Square Garden, biggest stage in basketball. Stars are going to shine tonight, so I expect nothing less.
Exactly, and that's what I want to see. I mean, those lights are going to get real bright in March, and if you're not ready for it now, what's to say you're going to be ready for it here in a few months? So Cats have got to come out and let's get started fast tonight. Let's get a lead. Let's not have this be a back and forth game. Let's have this be a game where we get out and we run early in the ball game, get a lead, and just run away with this game.
That's a big thing for us because I don't think Michigan State can't come back from down 10.
Yeah.
They're not an offensive team. I think if we start hot, I think we're looking really dang good.
And on the flip side of that, they're such a good defensive team, like we are, but they're such a good defensive team. If we get down, we're going to be in a spot where I don't like it if we're down 12 points. So we don't want to look and we're down 13 points. So that is why Kentucky needs to come out fast. Let's build ourselves a lead tonight. We're playing from behind the whole time against Louisville. Let's play ahead tonight against the Spartans. All right, Carson, let's do some score predictions and MVPs. I'm going to go first tonight so you can get this place rocking because I really did not do well in that aspect the other day. So Carson talked about it. The final score of the Arkansas-Michigan State game was 69-66. And low-scoring game between those two teams. I think you're going to see something similar tonight. I think the Cats are going to win this one. I think it's going to be lower scoring. I think it could be a little bit higher scoring than that game against Arkansas. So I'm going to take the Cats to win this one 72-67. And the MVP tonight, I'm going to take Denzel Aberdeen. Without Jalen Lowe, he has got to play well for us to win. We can sit here and talk about our bigs and all that, and how important they are. Denzel Aberdeen needs to have a big night. I'm projecting him to lead us in scoring. Need a big one out of DA.
Yeah. Big game, New York tonight, MSG. All the lights are on. All the stars are out. Celebrities everywhere. And, we talked about stars. And I know I picked him last game, and he let me down. But I'm going to continue to pick my boy because I got faith in him. 00 Otega Away MVP. Kentucky wins 82-75, and we're back.
Love it. That's going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got some sheets around that have all of our social media. All right. Two questions.
Come on.
Connor, you can't sit here and say questions and then not come ask a question. All right, Mike's coming to ask a question. He walked off our softball game last night, by the way.
Yeah! All right. Y'all talked a lot about this being a must-win. I want to know, is this more of a must-win or a can't lose?
That's a fantastic question. We were talking about this a little bit in the car today, and my thoughts were it's a can't lose. I think we need the momentum bad. We've had some injuries nagging us. We need a win tonight.
Agreed. All right, one more. Anybody got one more? Not Kieran. I'm just kidding, Kieran. You can come ask a question. Man, I mean, we're begging for questions, and everyone's going to be shy. Does Jake Nash not have a question? I mean, first time, long time?
No
Pat
questions.
Ball?
We're good.
All right, Pat Ball's coming to ask a question.
There we go, Pat Ball.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, y'all talk all about the game tonight. The main thing is they're going to have consistency and not have the 4 and 5 minute droughts.
Yeah.
Not scoring at all. And they need to start setting screens for Colin Shannon.
Yeah. I agree. I
Get
mean,
the Mormon Mamba open.
yeah, if we go in a big drought tonight, I think it's a game that if we drought, it's not as bad as against Louisville, knowing this isn't as elite of an offense. But, no, I mean, we cannot have those ugly 5 minutes where you look up and we scored, 2 points in 5 minutes. So that's going to be key for us. That's going to do it. We got these sheets around. What, Connor?
I have to know who's your MVP.
I already said that.
Who?
I said Denzel Aberdeen. What?
Okay. I just have to make sure. Not Jasper Johnson?
No, Connor. But we got these
That
sheets
kid's
around.
the
They've
best
got he is. He's going to say live someday. I can't believe it. We've got these sheets around with social medias and all of that, how to subscribe. So do that for us. This is the Wildcats Today podcast. Stick around, drink a lot of beer, and enjoy the ball game. Have a great night. Go Cats.